This past week we have some big news coming out from the Singapore Major. Shannon, SUNSfan Scotten, sparked a controversial topic about the major on his We Say Things podcast with trolls Cinder and Nielsen. In the podcast, SUNSfan revealed how there are many teams who want the Singapore Major to get cancelled over a supposed 48-hour quarantine, and how PGL would not be able to accommodate enough PCs in the practice room with enough distance between the players.
So I don't know if this is even drama, but for the PGL Major, multiple sources have confirmed the following. Most teams from North America, South America, SCA, and CIS hope that the major will be canceled. But EU, basically, they're the ones that were given kind of the terms of what the major would be like, and they gave the okay, essentially, and that's why everybody else is just falling in line after the fact. So the sources I've talked to say that the teams that they've talked to are hoping that the major gets canceled, but they don't think it's going to be.
Because
in addition, well, because
why,
of the following.
why do they hope it get canceled?
So there's a 48-hour quarantine upon arrival, which the typical is 2 weeks, right? So that's kind of a red flag already. Like, I it's hard to tell like what separates the decisions from PGL/Valve and then like Singapore, right? I think Singapore, from like a COVID standpoint, is doing really well, right? So it could be shielding them. Like a lot of the rules that they have, they make sense because they're shielding themselves from the players. Like the players aren't allowed to leave the hotel or anything like that. So that's understandable, right? But 2 days of quarantine, which you can't really test for that. That's too short of a time frame where you could already have it as you go, or you could catch it on the way there, like in the airports or something like that. In addition, teams are arriving staggered based on their seating. So some teams get there a lot earlier, some teams not so much. And then the reason that's important is because there's no PCs to practice on in the team rooms. And each team has a lot of times in the practice rooms, which I haven't been able to confirm how many computers that actually is. But combined with what I just talked about, it being staggered times means that some teams just have no time to practice before their actual matches, like maybe half a day or something like that. So a lot of teams are like really upset about the conditions, essentially.
SUNSfan's comment has sparked numerous stories, and one professional player from North America who's going to be playing the Singapore Major, Daryl Iceiceice Pei Xiang, said in one of his recent streams that only a couple of teams and maybe a couple of players who really want the major to get cancelled.
That would actually be like a good tournament. Now it's gonna be like I mean, people still want to play, right? I think the only person that doesn't want to play is Queen knows who, but but I think everything else is like pretty fine. I kind of want to play because to me it's like taking a taxi down to the hotel. Do I want the major to be cancelled? No. Does EG want the major to be cancelled? No. We want to play the major. That's only like 2 to 3 teams, probably like 2 teams, and one guy that really wants the major to be cancelled. And he's a fucktard. I'm not gonna name names, but yeah. Maybe like 2 guys, okay. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yahoo Southeast Asia News reported One Esports clarified to them that any foreign esports team coming into Singapore for the Singapore Major will not be required to quarantine for 14 days. In line with One's protocol and the Singapore government's regulation, all foreign players will be required to undergo COVID-19 tests, including before departure and upon arrival in Singapore. They must then be isolated until they receive a negative test result, which can take up to 48 hours, One Esports said. One Esport also notes that teams eliminated from the Singapore Major will be required to return to their home countries immediately to minimize interactions. Singapore has been averaging 10 cases a day for the past 7 days. Dota 2 is about to get really exciting. The anime drops on March 25th, then 2 days later the Major will begin. In fact, Netflix has a new video that explains the lore, sort of. Onto the DPC. China got a really exciting ending to their first DPC season. The final spot came down to a tiebreaker match between Elephant and PSG.LGD. There was also another tiebreaker to see who will finish first between Team Master and Invictus Gaming. In the tiebreaker match, PSG.LGD came prepared and swept the best of 3 series in 2 quick games to secure the final wildcard slot.
Soulbind used on the Death Prophet. They've got the Phantom's Embrace to silence him up. Hook shot down long. As that comes through on the tusk, they get the kill on Yang. Ame gets one again. He's beyond godlike. FY falls. Wukong's ring. It's quite large, and well, now they're going to go after Eurus.
He's caught up
Who
by
pops
himself.
the BKB, the enrage is over, swashbuckle in, and
Scotty's
he's all
low.
by himself, and he is going to drop here. There is no way out of this, and they've got the 8th remaining
Summers runs
around,
back
and they
into.
look to get Somnus. They could just get another full team wipe. GG is called. LGD, from the brinks of not making a major, are now going to the wild card.
And the last match they had to go through was VG. They played so well against VG. Now Elephant looks like helpless children next to them. Like,
In the other tiebreaker, it was also a quick session to find out the winner. Invictus Gaming defeated Team Master 2-0.
Rich, you know, share some wealth.
Trickle down some of that gold. He's got that Solar Crest, that Lotus Orb, that Blink Dagger, and Kaka's in here with an Aeon Disc, a Blink, and a Force Step. He's actually got a lot of gold. But he'd like a little bit more. Blink stun coming through on Monet, as well as the slow, followed up by Fly in a little bit deeper. They've got the stun as well as the fingers coming through into the Death Prophet. Can they get the kill? Emo onto the backlines with the Astral Set. They get the kill on a White Album. They look over now at the Tusk, who's going to be stunned up twice. They take out Lanham. They've got 2 heroes dead. They'll take out the first life on the Wraith King. Wraith King now trying to get away from this one, but it's not looking likely. They will call GG and finish this game and finish this series. So IG, they'll find themselves leading the charge. As they get themselves a 2-0.
Great performance. They played the similar stuff before with that.
Here's your final standings for China. Invictus Gaming proceeds into the major playoffs. Team Aster will play in the group stages, and Vichy Gaming will play in the wildcard matches along with PSG.LGD. Here's your final lower division standings. There were no crazy tiebreaker matches in the lower division, so Spark Arrow Gaming and Roll Never Give Up are the top 2 teams getting promoted. And here are all the teams that will compete in the Singapore Major. In Epic League Season 3, the Division 1 is already set, and here is the current bracket. Over in the BTS Pro Series 5, Undying and Penta Ace are leading their individual groups. Undying has actually already secured their spot into the playoffs. That's all for this week. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more Dota news and highlights. Have a good week.